This video will show you how to replace the cooling fan assembly on a Ford Transit-250. This will be mounted to the front of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. To remove the fan, we're making our way along the driver's side of the engine compartment first. Now as I look down in this area, I can see where my cooling fan electrical connectors are. We're going to have to disconnect each of these. Now on each, you're going to find that it has a squeezable tab. We're going to squeeze that in and pull these out of place. Typically, you will have to squeeze these to pull them up and out. That one just wasn't secured. That's strange. Either way, just a quick inspection. We want to make sure we don't see any corrosion. Those look good, so we're going to set them aside. Now that we have those disconnected, let's move down below. This is where we can see our transmission cooler. The transmission cooler is held in place with one 8mm headed mounting bolt. A thorough inspection of our mounting hardware as we continue on will replace everything as necessary. Now with that bolt out of there, we'll take hold of the transmission cooler. We're going to lift it up and pull it away from the radiator. Now that we have movement from here, we can continue on. So now as we move from over here, we're heading towards the center of the engine compartment. We're going to dislodge this hose from the fan shroud. Typically you can take hold of it by hand, give it a wiggle and slide it away. You may also need to pry it out of place. If you're prying it out of place, let's just be careful not to cause any damage. For this, I'm using a small trim tool. You can use a flat blade screwdriver if necessary. There's that. Just a quick inspection of this. This looks good. Now, if that did happen to break, that's okay. You can attempt to use a wire tie during the installation. This looks good. So now the next thing we need to focus on is this line that comes across here. Now in the center of the fan shroud, up along the top, we can see that we have this line making its way all the way across towards the passenger side. We're starting in the center. We're going to dislodge this. Just go ahead and pull it right out of place. Now once you have it out of place, a quick inspection. This one looks like it has been serviced. Somebody tried to fix a broken line here. Yours should be in one piece. At this point, we can pause in the engine compartment. We're going to make our way safely under the front of the vehicle. Now after safely raising and supporting the front of the vehicle, we're making our way under the front here where we can see our small plastic panel. Now this plastic panel does make its way all the way across the entire front of the vehicle. Now I'm going to start on one side of the vehicle here. As I start looking up through this port, I can see that I have a mounting bolt. This side actually looks like the bolt has been replaced. Typically it will be a 10mm. I'm using an 8. There's that mounting bolt. Now do the same thing on the other side. Now we'll make our way along the outer edge where this shield connects to our front bumper cover. You're going to find you have 4 more 10mm bolts. Get this last one here. We're holding onto the shield so it does not fall as we continue on. Let's just go ahead and take hold of this. We'll give it a wiggle and slide it out of place. A quick inspection of the shield will set it aside. Now the next thing we have to do is carefully apply upward pressure along the bottom of the radiator. We're going to try to support it up while we continue on removing this cross member. For this, I'm using a small chunk of wood as a spacer. I need to make my way in between the AC condenser and this plate. I want to be careful not to cause any damage to the AC condenser. Just slight pressure here. We don't want to cause any damage. This looks good. We're just trying to support that radiator. Now that I have support under there, let's continue on removing this cross member. We're over towards the driver's side first. Looking along the bottom, I can see this threaded portion of a bolt. If I make my way up along the top of this, I can see that I have to use a T20 Torx to remove this bolt. Let's see if we can get our socket in here. Feels like it's slipping. So this is common. Obviously, moisture is going to sit in this area. It's going to get rounded out and stripped. Now, if that's the case and you cannot remove this properly, the next thing that I would do would be from down along the bottom of this. I'm going to be using a cutting wheel. I'm going to cut off the end. We'll remove this entire thing. Now once you've removed the bolt, one way or the other, you should be able to move this bracket around. This is exactly what we need to see. So now as we make our way across from there, we're going to start dislodging our AC lines from this. Now as I look along the bottom of this, I can see the bottom of some push pins, but we have to actually gain access from up along the top area here. In these two areas, we can see our push pins. Now typically to remove your push pins, you're going to carefully pry up on the center. On these in particular, you're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver. Attempt to turn the center counterclockwise. As it starts lifting up and away, the push pin should be unlocked and you can lift it up and out of position. If the screwdriver does not work, carefully pry up on the center. Okay, so as you can tell, mine is turning, but it is not lifting up. This is common, so I'm just going to have to pry it up and out of position. So with this, I'm using a small pocket screwdriver. I'm trying to get underneath the center area of this so I can pry it up and away from the outer portion. It can be fairly difficult to see up in this area. Now, if you still find that this will not lift up and out of position, I'm going to continue on with a hammer and punch down along the bottom of this. Typically, this will damage the push clips and you will have to replace them. Now it does look like this lifted. So we're making our way across. We can see the next piece of hardware here. Same process. Attempt to use your Phillips head screwdriver to loosen the center. Otherwise, you may have to remove it the same way as we just did for the other. Now there's the center of this. Let's go ahead and remove the rest of it. There we go. So now that we have those dislodged, we can start removing this crossbar. Now along each side, you're going to find that you have two 10mm headed mounting bolts. It's common for these to be rusted in place. Now as I start removing these, you do want to be aware of the weight of this bar. You can apply some support if necessary. As you can see, this bolt is coming loose. I'm going to leave it in a couple threads. We'll continue on to the next. There's our first mounting bolt. A quick inspection of this. Now typically I will leave this one in place. I'm going over to the other side of the vehicle. I'm going to remove the bolts on the other side, and then we can get this one out of here as well. So I have the other side mounting bolts out now. I'm holding up on this cross beam. Let's remove that bolt. We'll carefully start pulling this down. Just a quick inspection of that cross beam and we'll set it aside. Now let's focus along each side of the radiator. On the radiator itself, it has this hooked lock. Now this actually goes around the tab that's attached to the fan itself. There's going to be 4 tabs protruding out, 2 towards each side of the fan. Down along the bottom is where the locking tabs on the radiator are. We have to pry these away as we continue on sliding it up. Up along the top, it just aligns, but it does not lock in. So I'm just using a trim tool as a prying device. You can use a flat blade screwdriver if you want to. Now you can see I do have this pressed up. I'll go over to the other side and repeat this process. So as you can tell, the fan lifted up. This is exactly what we need. Now I'm pulling it towards the engine, away from the radiator. We'll carefully start sliding this out of place. Just try to take this at an angle here. Can be a tight fit. There it is, friend. A quick inspection and we'll set this aside. Now let's prepare to install the fan. Let's have a quick look at the radiator. You can see right along the radiator here, we have a small hook. Directly above it, a second hook. And you have the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, let's get ready to install that brand new fan assembly. Now as we bring this up, I'm coming at an angle. I want to make sure that the upper portion of the fan goes up and over my upper radiator hose. We're carefully aligning things here, being careful not to cause any damage to the radiator or any other parts near it. So we're bringing it up. Now we're paying attention along each side of the radiator. Before I continue on pulling the fan all the way down to the fully locked position, we need to make sure we check all 4 of these hooked areas to confirm they're properly aligned. Down along the bottom, each side, and along the top. Now this does look like it's properly in place, so I'm going to carefully pull down. We'll make sure it's locked in. There we go, that's the sound we want to hear. Let's just go ahead and double check each one of those areas, both sides of the radiator and fan assembly. Let's continue on with our crossbar now. We're coming in at an angle towards the driver's side. Now, as we bring this up into the proper position, we need to align our lower radiator bushings with the corresponding port on the crossbeam. You have 2 of these, one on either side. I'm just going to remove my support from under that. Make sure that fits through. That's exactly what we want to see. Same thing on both sides. Now we're going to carefully apply upward pressure on this and continue on with our 4 mounting bolts, 2 for each side. Okay, so I have my 10mm mounting bolts. We want to make sure we start them all in before tightening any. Okay, I got the other side in. Let's make sure they're nice and tight. Same thing for the other side. So now we can continue on with resecuring each of our lines. Now, of course, we do have mounting brackets. For these, I'm going to be using push clips. We need to get them aligned in the proper areas. We'll bring the push clip straight up through those ports. Lock that in. Double check to make sure it's secured. Now that we have that one secured, let's continue on. We still have 2 more brackets and their corresponding ports here. Take hold of those lines, double check to make sure they're properly secured in place. Now it's time for our lower protective panel. As I start bringing this up, I like to start along the forward area. I'm taking hold of the bumper cover, I'm flexing it down. The bumper cover goes under the plastic panel we're installing. Now, once you feel as though you have it in the proper placement, we'll continue on with our 4 10mm headed mounting bolts across the front. Now, when I do these bolts, I always like to start in all pieces of hardware before tightening any of them, just in case we have to maneuver this around. So now we'll make our way into this area. We need to make sure it's properly aligned. I've got my 10mm bolt. Start that in. Perfect. Now I'm going over to the other side. I'm going to repeat that process. After that, we can tighten all 6 of these mounting bolts. Okay, they're all started in. Let's make sure they're tight. Do the same on the other side. We'll make our way to the front mounting bolts after that. Double check to make sure everything's properly secured. We can make our way out from under the front of the vehicle and back up inside that engine compartment. Along the top of the fan in the center, we're going to make sure that we resecure our line here. So now as we move towards the driver's side, we're following where this line comes across the fan. We have another mounting point for a hose here. This just presses right into the fan, line it up, press it in. After we're sure that that's secured, we'll continue on making our way towards the driver's side corner. Along the driver's side of the radiator and the fan, we have our transmission cooler block. So we're just going to make sure that we have this aligned. Once you have it in the proper placement, we'll continue on with our 8mm headed mounting bolt up along the top area. Now, my mounting bolt was damaged, so I replaced it with a brand new bolt. Okay, right there is bottomed out. Now we are only screwing into plastic. I don't want to strip this out. Now I'm just going to take hold of this and make sure it's properly secured. It should not move around in any way. Now in this same area, we can start reconnecting our fans. We have 2 electrical connectors here. Line them up, press them in. Audible click from that, and it's secure. Okay, friend, we finished our installation. Now the next thing we need to do is run the vehicle until it gets up to normal operating temperature. At that point, the cooling fans should turn on. After that, you can go ahead and close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.